This is our intermediate class today, and our theme is sort of the second piece of resourcing. So last week we looked at several different resources or things that you can do in any moment. So whether you're on the yoga mat or whether you're out in life doing what you do, we often or sometimes have situations that cause us a little anxiety, a little nervousness, a little bit of a boost in our sympathetic nervous system, which is actually a really good thing if we need to get stuff done, right? So that energy that gets stuff done, if it's taken too far, it becomes the energy of anxiety and tension. So when we feel that anxiety rising in our bodies, that stress level, which is unfortunately all too common these days, so last week was all about the various different things that we can do, and that's only a limited list. It's not an entirely complete list. But this week we're going to pull out two of those resources that we touched on briefly last week and delve a little deeper into them. And again, these are things you can do anywhere. They're great to practice during the yoga class because we're already sort of bringing our attention to the moment in a yoga class, but you can do it anywhere. And so those two resources that we're going to look at today, one is grounding. So feeling our connection to the earth. When we get a little bit anxious and get spun out, we tend to kind of spiral up and out rather than down and in, right? So up and out looks like, oh my God, I'm frantic, right? That kind of feeling in the body. And down and in is I'm settled, I'm here, I'm okay. And so practicing grounding can help us to have access to that grounding when we're in a rough moment. And the other piece is called felt sense. And it's literally feeling our bodies, using our sense of touch or feeling to notice sensation in the body. This piece can be a little bit tricky. So if we've had chronic pain, we might have numbed or shut out some of our experience of sensation. And when we shut out a part of our sensation, it tends to kind of shut down in general. Right. So if you've been in chronic pain or you've had pain, and this can be emotional pain as well. So when we close ourselves off from our pain, we close ourselves off from sensation. So even if we're closing off from emotional pain, we can lose a feeling of sensation in the body. And also just going through life, it's inconvenient, right, to focus on our bodies if they're not comfortable. But when we do, when we take the time to slow down and use our body as a resource, we can find that there are places in our body, even if we have chronic pain, that feel comfortable, that can give us some support. So we're going to start with finding that comfortable place or those comfortable places in our bodies, feeling the ground, and then really tuning into what it feels like to be in a body today. So we'll start lying down. So get comfortable. You can lie down with your legs straight or bent, whatever is comfortable for you. And we'll start from that position. So taking your time, get comfortable. So as I mentioned, you can have your knees bent if that works for you. I like to take the feet a little wider and let the knees fall together. So there's no effort in holding the legs in this position. And for me, I find when my legs are bent, my lower back feels a little more comfortable. It's a little more natural shape for my lower back. I find when I stretch my legs out, I'm overarching my lower back. The pelvis tilt is not so comfortable, but other people have the opposite, right? So don't assume that one way, the way that works for me works for you as well. Experiment, find a position that you are most comfortable in here. So the idea is that you're as comfortable as you can possibly be. So that that means you've been putting a blanket over you or a pillow under your head. That's all totally fine. And then once you find that comfortable position, take a moment to feel the ground beneath you. Feel how your body is fully supported by the ground. There's nothing that needs to be held here. The ground literally has your back. So as you exhale now, see if you can soften and relax and receive that support. And so some of us in life are really good at giving support, not maybe so good at receiving support. So take a moment and really receive the support from the ground. Feel your body let go. If the ground has your back, let your body know that. You're safe. You're comfortable, ideally. You belong here. Whatever you're bringing to the class today, just allow that to be. There's no need to push anything away. So take a few more settling breaths here, feeling your body, tuning into the connection to the earth, softening and receiving that support. And then take a moment to scan your body. So it doesn't have to be in any particular order. You're just noticing your body. And if there are areas of your body that feel painful or uncomfortable today, certainly be aware of those, but try not to bring your full attention there. So now looking for a place in your body that feels good, that feels relaxed, that feels comfortable. And that can literally simply be the absence of pain. It could be neutral. It could be a place in your body that feels less pain if your sense is that you have pain in your whole body. So we're looking for the lightest, easiest, or any place in the body that feels good. So take a moment, identify a place. It could be several places, but maybe let your attention focus on one place. And if what I'm saying doesn't even make sense, if you're like, feel good in my body, I don't really feel anything in my body, that's also normal, right? So I talked about using sort of numbness or checking out to deal with emotional or physical pain. So notice what's true for you, and if there's a place in your body that feels okay or good, let your attention come there. And so I encourage and invite you to use this comfort, this place of ease in your body as a resource today, or the ground. Feeling the ground beneath you could be your resource to come back to when your mind wanders. We're going to stay as connected as possible today to both the ground and our experience of being in a body. So our bodies resonate at the same frequency as the earth. So grounding, feeling grounded helps us to feel our inherent and natural connection with the earth. So as you breathe now, feeling the breath of the earth, breathing through you. The trees breathe, the wind blows. We are part of nature. As you breathe, feel yourself as part of nature. So I'm going to bring in some movement now. So you can start by bending your knees if they're straight, bringing your knees up in toward your chest. And as you do that, it should bring the lower back into even deeper contact with the earth. And you can roll and rock and roll, or circle your knees to feel how your body is massaged against the ground as you move in this position. So you can find areas in the back of the sacrum, the lower back. Tune into the shifting of the pressure between your back and the ground. And moving in a way that would feel good, that massages where maybe you feel tightness, you feel tension in your low back and your hips. And if there's no tension there, fantastic, just whatever feels good. And then take one foot to the ground, bring the other knee in firmly, give it a squeeze. You can reach behind that leg and move the leg a little straighter and then bend. So we're, again, tuning into felt sense to notice, where do I start to feel the stretch? And then releasing. And as long as it feels good, you can add a little bit of intensity each time, taking it a little more into that stretch, only if it feels good and you can stay relaxed. Right? So we're not trying to push past our limits, but approaching them very, very slowly with each time you move, inviting a little more intensity and seeing if it feels good still. And then finding a nice, easeful sort of middle place, so not too much, not too little, the Goldilocks place. Holding there. You can hold on to the leg or let go. It doesn't really matter. You'll still feel the stretch. You might circle your ankle here. And press the heel toward the ceiling. Notice how that changes the stretch, if it does for you. Okay, let's bring that knee back into the chest. Relax your foot. And then we're going to take that same leg, stretch it straight out on the ground, and take the arm on that side, stretch it overhead, and take a few breaths here, reaching from your fingertips up through your heel. Breathing into that side of your body. Really reaching, reaching, reaching. And then bringing the knee back in toward the chest. You can bring both hands around the knee or behind the thigh. Give a little squeeze. And then release with both hands. Take the leg toward the ceiling. Relax your foot and give that leg a shake. Shake it out. Right. And then release, bringing your foot down. And then we'll bring the other knee in toward the chest. You can bring the hands over or behind the thigh again. Bring the knee in. Take a few breaths here. Feel your lower back on the ground. Feel that sense of connection and support. And then you can start to bend and straighten this leg. So again, you might hold on, you might not, it doesn't matter. You're moving to go your first sensation of stretch and then releasing. And then if it's right for you, going a little bit more and maybe a little bit more. So that you're really slowly and mindfully approaching your limits. So approaching the place where it would be too much stretch, it would be uncomfortable. And then finding a kind of middle ground, so you feel some stretch, but you can tolerate it and keep very relaxed with that stretch. You can hold on or not as you circle your ankle around. So one way, the other way. Heel pressing up toward the ceiling, and notice how that affects the stretch in the back of your leg. It might be just the ankle, it could be the calf, the thigh, the back of the knee. Okay, relax the foot, bring the knee into the chest. Again, you can hold over or behind the thigh, or over the shin or behind the thigh, stretching out the opposite leg now. That was a mistake. You want to keep that leg bent. We're going to stretch the leg that you've been bending and bring it to the ground. So the leg that was in the chest is now stretched out straight. You can also take the arm on that side over your head or out to the side, whatever's comfortable for you, and take a few breaths, reaching from your center, breathing into that long side. And then we can bring the arm down, bring the knee in for a moment, give it a nice little hug, little squeeze, and then releasing. The hands can rest on your body or on the ground. We'll do a little gentle twisting here. So knees going together to one side any amount, right? So again, starting by finding your first bit of resistance, the first bit of stretch as you go to the side. And then as you go, really tuning into approaching your limit. You may not even come near your limit. You might reach the floor with your legs first, but really respecting and honoring your body and inviting that deeper movement, not forcing it if that feels right for you. So inviting. If you want to coordinate breath, you can exhale as you go to the side. Inhale as you come to center. And we'll do a few more here, so really encourage you to tune into where you notice the stretch, where you feel the movement. If you like, you can stay for a few breaths and explore that experience of being in the pose while you breathe and notice. Does the stretch change as you hold it? Is it different when you inhale versus exhale? And if you prefer to keep moving, that's absolutely fine. If you've been staying, make sure you stay roughly the same amount of time on the other side as well. Breathing, feeling, tuning in, noticing. And then gradually coming back to the center, and we'll bring both knees in toward the body now. And the movement here is stretching the legs toward the ceiling. The hands can stay on the legs, wrapping behind, or go out to the side, or reach overhead. So we'll move dynamically, coming in, giving a squeeze, reaching out. You can coordinate breath if you like. Inhaling as you open, exhaling as you squeeze the breath out, going at your own pace. And then holding the knees, any movement that you would enjoy here. So massaging the back by circling or rocking or drawing the knees forward and back, whatever feels good to you. Okay, and then as you're ready, you bring the feet back down to the ground. And so we'll work a little bit with pelvic tilting movement. Again, it's really about feeling the body, feeling the connection to the earth, and quite subtle. So you can bring your hands onto your belly, and for this one, it's a good idea to have the knees bent, feet on the floor, hands somewhere on the torso, so rib cage, belly area. So now taking a breath in, let the belly soften and expand. And as you exhale, press down with your feet until your lower back snuggles into the ground, so it sort of presses into the ground. And then relax, breathe in, let the belly expand, exhale, press into your feet. The tailbone will lift a little bit. So there's this little rocking movement with the pelvis that's happening, breathing in as you arch, breathing out as you round. It's really the cat-cow movement, but on the ground rather than on all fours or seated. Breathing in as you arch, exhaling as you round, and again, really tune into your body, right? So does this feel comfortable for you? Are there parts of this movement that aren't comfortable? Can you modify? Do you need to modify to make this work for you? A few more breaths, really tuning in, making it even more subtle. So breath and movement, gentle, subtle, easeful, and keep making it even more subtle until you're just barely moving. And keep going more and more subtle until it's just the idea of moving. You're breathing in. The idea of the arch, breathing out. The idea flattening or rounding the back. And then maybe even becoming aware of or noticing there is actually with the breath a very subtle, natural movement, the same way as we were creating the movement. We don't need to do anything, just breathing, softening. And then letting that go all together. Letting the arms come down to the ground. You can turn the palms up toward the ceiling. Relax the shoulders and draw them down away from your ears a little bit. And bring your feet in so that they're underneath your knees, hip distance apart. So we're basically setting up for a really nice, easy bridge pose. So here with your exhale, press into your feet until you feel as much of your spine on the ground, and then breathe there. So draw the chin in slightly, press down into the feet. So for me, from my shoulders almost down to my tailbone of course curls up away from the ground, but that whole area, upper, middle, lower back on the ground, chin in so the neck is long, and a little pressure into the feet to find that pressure down in the lower back. And then from that place, we're going to lift incrementally. So as you press into your feet, start to lift whatever is the lowest part on the ground. So for me, the sacrum starts to lift, the back of the pelvis. And then my lower back starts to lift. And I'm going to keep pressing. I'm breathing, but in no particular pattern, just in and out normally. And I'm continuing to lift as if I'm lifting each vertebra one at a time. And when I come to the place that's the highest comfortable position for me to be here, so neck and shoulders relax, and a pause for breath. Relax my shoulders, arms, jaw, face, neck, just the legs, hips, mostly working here. And then I'm going to release, and you can do this with me slowly, letting the spine come down from the top to the bottom, releasing each vertebra as much as possible, one at a time. Always with the caveat that if that doesn't feel good for you, modify in whatever way does. So if you feel any pinching in your back as you lift, by lifting each vertebra at a time, you might just lift more in one piece and lower in one piece. So let's try this a couple more times. The emphasis here is really on feeling the body in connection to the ground, peeling the spine up and rolling it back down, taking a moment at the apex or the top of the pose to check in with your body. Relax where you can, be strong where you need to be before you release and lower again. And depending on how fast or slow you're moving, you may have time for maybe one more here. So take your time. Maybe for you it's two more. Finding your way. Taking your time, really tuning into those two principles we're working with today: felt sense of feeling the body and grounding, being aware of our relationship to the earth. Next time you come down, bring your knees to your chest and any movement again. So side to side, forward and back, rocking or circling, whatever feels good. So we're going to start to make our way upright, and the very safest, easiest way to do that is to roll to your side, use your opposite hand to lift you. For those of you with no issues with your neck or your spine at all, you could rock along the length of your spine a few times. And eventually maybe even rock yourself right upright to sit. So we're not going to stay seated. Once you come upright, you can either tuck your feet under and rock over them to come to all fours, or just let your knees, your legs swing to the side to come to all fours. So finding a comfortable position here on hands and knees. If you need to modify for wrists, you can come onto your fist or roll up the end of your mat as you need to. So we're going to rock back to child's pose. Reach the arms out as far as they will come in front. And then from there, lifting up and letting the weight come a little forward over the arms. So we're maybe a little bit more spread out now than normal table. So the arms are a little bit forward of the shoulders. Rocking forward, breathing in as you arch, rounding and rocking back as you exhale. Okay. And then let's come up to that extended table. Walk the hands even a little more forward to bring the hips in line with the shoulders and the knees in plank pose. So press down into the lower legs, down into the tops of the feet and knees, down into the hands, and gently lift through the belly, through the core. So you're engaged, grounded and engaged. Okay, and from here, shifting back, you can walk the hands back. If you like, you can take the knees apart to come into child's pose, or you can keep the knees together. So whatever is more comfortable for you. We'll come down into child's pose. Your head can rest on the ground or on your hands, whatever, again, is most comfortable for you. Some people like to use a block. If you've got a block or even a firm cushion, you could rest your head there. So whatever works. And if it feels right for you, you might rock the hips a little side to side to kind of just let the body settle here. Few more breaths. Feel what parts of your body are connected to the ground and see if you can find a little more softening. This is softening the shins, softening the thighs as they meet the calves. If you feel pressure or pain in your knees, you might place a folded blanket between your thighs and your calves. And that can take some of the pressure off the knees. Feel your tailbone drop now toward the earth. As you breathe, feel yourself soften the big muscles that attach all around your sacrum and in the back of the pelvis. And as you exhale, feel your tailbone drop toward the earth, your head drop toward the earth, and your spine lengthen between those 2 points. And slowly, we'll start to make our way upright. Come back so the knees are under the hips. So if you're taking your knees wider, you're going to bring them in a little closer to each other now. Okay, and then we're going to work with moving from our plank into downward dog, into child's pose. So you want to, again, take the hands a little forward. And let your body come forward and adjust your hands as you need to so that your hands end up underneath your shoulders as you come into that plank. So again, press down into your lower legs and your feet. Gently lift through the core, press into your arms, feel the space between your shoulder blades widen. And then it's up to you, but if you like, you can even lift onto the tops of your feet or tuck your toes under and lift into plank on the pads of your toes. So either way, I find it's a little bit more challenging on the tops of the feet, but that might be different for you. Okay. And then from here, if you're on the tops of the feet, you want to turn the toe pads under. Try not to move your hands or your feet as you lift up to downward dog. So the temptation for most people here is to walk the feet
a little bit towards the hands because it feels quite wide. But from here, we know we're in the right position if we can shift forward and come back to plank without moving the hands and feet and still be in the right position. You can lower the knees, shift back without moving your hands as far back as your hips can go to child's pose. You may not go all the way there. And then think about the elbows moving toward the ground a little bit. So rather than the elbows winging up out to the sides, draw them down and in. Keep that feeling of drawing down and in as you come back to all fours. So I'm drawing the elbows in towards each other. And almost like you're pulling your hands together on the mat to help create that action. And then from there, again, lifting to downward dog, walking on the spot here. And now, let's start to walk the feet toward the hands, tiny steps, pressing the heel down toward the ground each time to lengthen the calves as you walk forward. You might get stuck at some point and find it difficult to move more forward, and if that's the case, you're just going to walk your hands to your feet, maybe come to your fingertips, to find a standing forward bend, and then bend your knees a lot. Let your chest come to rest, your belly come to rest on your thighs. Let the arms hang down, let the head hang down. If this isn't a good position for you, you might instead have your elbows up on your thighs. So we'll take a few breaths here. And then emerging to lift arms to the sides, keep the knees bent as you lift, reaching up overhead. And exhale to release. Beautiful. So now here in mountain pose, in Tadasana, bring your feet parallel to one another, about hip distance apart. And let your weight sink a little bit into your heels. When you sink into your heels, feel as though from your sit bones, so this point at the top of your hamstring, bottom of your hip, bottom of your pelvis, right down to your heels, feeling that line strengthen. So the weight goes into the heels and that line strengthens. And you can feel the strengthening of that line from the sit bone to your heel a little bit easier usually by lifting the opposite leg. So if we kind of focus on one side and that action of drawing down into the earth, and then you can just lift even the toes or just lift the leg any amount. In fact, the more you lift it, the more that line in the back of the leg engages. So feel that connection to the earth. If you need to hold the wall, that's fine. This isn't really about balance. It's about feeling that connection to the earth. So once you've felt one side, and if you don't feel it, don't worry. The connection is still happening. So shift your weight to the other side and really see if you can find that connection, like there's a rope from your sit bone through your heel, through your leg to your heel. And then you can intensify that a bit by lifting the opposite leg and really engaging the standing leg. Right, and then release. So these muscles, the hamstrings, run from the sit bone down into the knee in various shapes and formations, various places. And when we bend forward, we have to, we don't do it, the muscles relax, right? The front of the legs contract, the back of the legs responds by stretching. And so coming forward. And then from this position, come forward with a nice flat back, hands to the knees, and go until you feel that first level of resistance. So right about here, I'm like, oh yeah, hello hamstrings, I feel you. It's not intense, but I can feel them. And then I'm going to imagine that I'm shortening those muscles to allow me to stand up. So I'm drawing down with the hips to stand. So bend the knees slightly, keep the spine long. You can even bring your hands to your sit bones if you like. And feel how that whole line stretches. You may even feel it down to your heels. Go until you feel that sense of a bit of stretch, and then shortening those muscles to lift you up. One more time, soft knees, long spine coming forward. So you feel that sense of these muscles are lengthening, and then we're going to contract to lift. Right? And then give a little shake, just shake that off. Right? Let's bring the feet apart a bit, hands to the hips. We'll do a few circles to release any tension in the hips. You can circle one way, circle the other. And again, I really, really encourage you to tune in. Right? So this is such an easy movement. It would be so easy just to la, 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 think of something else, roll the hips around and get on with it. But can we really feel? So what do I notice here? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever it is, all the way around the circle. What do you notice? How does it shift? Does it change when you change direction? So get curious. Okay, and then let's come back to the center. And now we will work a little bit on balance. So a couple of things with balance. So looking in one spot that's not moving is a really great way to keep your balance. So looking at a spot in front of you, usually at lower than eye level so you're not craning your neck back. And then keeping your joints soft is also really helpful with balance. Breathing, of course. If we hold the breath, it's harder to balance. And then really feeling a sense of connection to the earth. So heels go down, thighs draw up. So the front of the thighs draws up as the heels go down. And it's almost like there's a feeling of lifting in the front of the body and dropping down through the back of the body. So see if you can feel that. If you like, you can close your eyes. So the sense of the thighs pull up, there's energy moving up the front of the body, and it kind of showers down the back of the body into the sit bones, into the earth. This feeling of lifting and dropping. Right. Now, if your eyes are closed, you're going to want to open them. And again, find your gaze in one spot to help with balance. We'll lift the arms up. And as the arms come down, we'll shift the weight onto one foot and bring the other knee up. Bringing the hands around or under the thigh, whatever is available to you. And then that foot will release. The arms will lift. And other side. So if balance isn't coming easily to you today, I would suggest don't use the wall or a chair to help you. Just keep one foot on the ground. Or keep both feet on the ground. Obviously, you're going to keep one foot on the ground. But instead of lifting the leg, just come to your toes or lift a little rather than lifting all the way in. And gradually work up to that. Maybe a little more lift if that's available to you. So a couple more here. And then if you like, you can stay with one knee up. So if this is available to you, and here you could use the wall. Or toes on the ground if that's a better option for you. So whichever leg is up in the air, you're going to keep that hand on the knee. You're going to bring the other hand onto your hip and take it out to the side. Pause here and come back to the center. Right? Bring both hands to your hips. Stretch the leg out, and it can be sort of higher, lower, whatever works, and then slowly lower it down. Great. And then give both legs a little shake. Come back to mountain pose, both feet on the ground. We'll take a breath in, lift both arms. Shift to the other foot now, bringing the knee in. Again, you can clasp around the knee or under the knee. There's a real tendency to lean back here. So see if you can stay straight upright over your standing leg. So there's a tendency to kind of lean, Come right over your standing leg, engage your core, lift through the crown of the head. And then you can release one hand. So you've just got one hand on your knee, the other hand on the hip. And take the knee out to the side. Pause there. Come back in. Both hands to your hip. And again, you can move that leg straighter if you like. It's going to be a lot more effort. So again, there's a tendency to lean back, stay over your leg, and slowly lower down. And give both legs a little shake. Right, so we're going to move into a little bit of a sequence, using a bit of balance and just a little balance, a little movement, and working with the breath to kind of coordinate a series like sun salutation, but not exactly. So you're going to come towards the front of your mat, just enough so that maybe in the front third of your mat, so you've got some room to step back behind you. So let's find mountain pose, feet under the hips, heels going down. As the heels go down, the thighs pull up, so the sense of drawing up and in the front of the body, softening and down through the hips, through the thighs, into the heels in the back of the body. So from here, breathing in, reaching the arms up, shifting the weight to your left foot, bring the right knee in towards your body, or toes on the ground, right? However works for you. And then we're going to step back from here, turning the back foot out to the right for warrior. So coming into warrior one. Then exhale, bring your hands down either to your knee, your shin, the ground, or if you have them blocks, let your head release for a breath or two here. Press deeply into your back foot. Really feel your back leg strong. Pull up on the thigh, almost like you're trying to press down into your heel as you draw up in the front of the leg, and then lifting from there, back up into warrior one. You can breathe in as you lift. We'll step onto the front foot, exhaling. Knee comes back, forward and in. You'll release your foot down. Arms up, big breath in. Exhale, soften your knees. Bring the chest and belly toward the thighs. Come down, release your head, and then come all the way back up. Breathing in. And exhaling back to where we started. Heels go down, thighs pull up. Energy moves up the front of the body. As you inhale, cascades down the back of your body into the earth. As you exhale, inhaling, lifting the arms. Shifting your weight to your right foot now. Exhaling, bringing the left knee in, staying over your standing leg. Inhaling, step back, warrior one, foot turns to the side. Pausing here to find that good, solid warrior stance. And then with your next exhalation, coming forward, again, it could be hands to the knee, the shin, some props if you've got them, or to the ground. Letting the head release, taking a couple of breaths here. Notice what you feel. What are you aware of here? So again, pressing into the back leg, pull up on the thigh, press down into the heel. And then from there, inhale, lift all the way up. Good. As you exhale, step onto your front foot, bring your back knee in. Inhaling, foot down, arms up. Drop into your heels as you bend your knees and exhale, come into a forward bend. And if my breath pace is off from yours, please take extra breaths if you need them. Move faster or slower if that's better for you. Good. Bending the knees to come upright, coming all the way up with the breath in, reaching overhead. And exhaling to release. Coming back to mountain pose, feel your heels go down, feel your thighs pull up. Feel that sense of lifting, lengthening the front of the body, energy cascading down the back of the body, all the way into the earth. So we're drawing energy up and back into the earth. One more breath here, and then we'll try that sequence again. We'll kind of add on this time. So heels down, inhale, lifting the arms. Exhale, shift to your left foot as you bring your right knee in. Step back, you can step back a little farther if you want more challenge here. Coming to warrior one. Exhale, you can move your front leg a little straighter now as you come forward, if that feels good for you. Take a couple of breaths there, feel that length in the hamstrings. Drawing up on the thigh, so energy drawing up the front, down the back. Okay, and then we're going to bend the front knee, bring the chest over the thigh, take the arms out to the sides. And if you're feeling strong and balanced here, you can continue by lifting the back leg and coming into warrior three, keeping the front leg a little bent. You can also just stay on the ground as you were. We're going to step back there. Lifting all the way up again. Warrior one, breathing in. Good. As you exhale, step forward and bring that knee in towards your body. Release the leg. Lift the arms. You can breathe in. Exhale, soften your knees, forward bend. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhaling, releasing your arms. Good, one more time with the other leg. Inhale, lift. Shift your weight, exhale, left knee comes in. Stepping back any amount, the further you step back, the more challenging this becomes. Inhaling to warrior, exhaling to warrior forward bend. Moving the legs straighter again until you find that perfect stretch for you. Not too much, not too little. Breathing. Bending the front knee, keeping the belly and chest close to the thigh, but lifting the heart as you lift the arms. You can stay here. Okay, this is an alternative too, hands to the knee. Or if you want, you can step onto your front leg, lift the back leg, find your balance, keep the front knee a little bent, and then step back, warrior one. Good. Coming forward, stepping onto your front foot, bringing the back knee in, releasing that foot, lifting up both arms, and then exhale, coming forward, releasing. Let's inhale and bring the hands to the shins to lengthen. Feel your hamstrings. Feel a little more stretch there, and then release. And you can pause here, maybe give your head a little shake, a little nod. Soften your knees, arms can hang, or you can rest your elbows on your thighs if you like. So we're going to make our way back down to the earth now. You can get there however you like, but if squatting is okay for you, you can come right from your forward bend down into a squat. And from your squat, whatever is the safest way for you to get to the ground. So you might, with no hands, drop your heels, drop your bum, or you might bring your hands back just to save you from falling too quickly. So find your way down onto your mat. When you get there, let's roll down. So you can use your core to release your spine to the ground. And coming down, pause here for a moment. Feel yourself restoring your bearings to the ground. Feel what makes contact with the earth as you come down, start to settle. So knees can be bent or straight. We stretch the arms up toward the ceiling and give the wrists a circle here. Circling one way, circling the other way. And then relax your wrists, give your arms a shake. And then take your hands to opposite elbows. So you've got a little square with your arms over your chest. We're going to take that square and sort of make it into a diamond as you go to one side, taking the elbows and the head toward that side. And then rolling back to the center and taking your head and elbows to the other side. So we'll do this a few times side to side. I, again, encourage you to really notice the movement of your body, your head, your shoulders in relation to the earth. Noticing what sensations are present in your upper body as you do this movement. So I'm focusing mostly on the lower body today. So notice you're feeling your shoulders, your neck, your arms. And then if you still want a little bit more here, as the arms and head go one way, you could complete the twist by taking the legs the other way. But always moving slowly. It's so key to staying safe. So when we move slowly, we can tune in tiny increments to how we're feeling. Eventually making your way back to the center. Bring both knees in towards your body. And let's take the knees apart. Let the elbows rest on the ground and your hands support the sides of your legs. And then just a little movement side to side. This is a sort of easy version of another pose called Happy Baby Pose. So if you want Happy Baby Pose, if that feels good to you, you can lift the lower legs and reach either for your ankles, so you're reaching in between your two legs to hold your ankles, or to hold the outer edges of your feet. And then from there, you can rock a little side to side. So if you've got the edges of your feet one at a time, you can try moving the leg a little straighter. You can do this with your ankle too, holding your ankle. So moving one leg at a time, reaching it back and out, a little straighter. It may not be very much movement for you at all, but that's fine. We're just alternating legs. Right? If you were here with the elbows on the ground still, same thing. And then maybe both legs reaching out to the sides, maybe holding on, maybe not. And then both feet coming in towards each other. So the soles of the feet coming towards each other. Again, you can hold your feet if you're able to reach right around. You can clasp your hands around your feet. You might just hold your ankles, or you might hold the knees. Okay, and from here, a little side to side, rocking movement, or whatever would feel good. Maybe just staying still is good here. And then one more if you're still with me and this would feel good to you and you don't have any issues with your neck today. So you're going to engage your core and lift the head towards the legs and gently draw the legs toward the head. And release. Right, knees Knees come together, give yourself a hug. Any movement here that would feel good, rocking, circling, moving the knees forward and back, whatever feels good. Take a minute or two. We are going to move next into the relaxation part, the end of the class, Shavasana. So if there's anything you need, now is the time to get prepared. So that might be doing a little more movement to feel more prepared. That might be getting a blanket or a pillow or putting on a sweater if you need it. So whatever you need to do to be as comfortable as possible. Legs can be bent or straight, and there's always the option to sit if you prefer to sit. So take a minute or two, do what you need to do to get comfortable, to be able to relax as fully as possible. Make sure you're warm enough. Even on warm days, after doing a little bit of physical movement and then we relax, the body tends to cool down quite a bit. So as you start to settle, we'll start by bringing the focus to the breath. And in particular, again, the exhalation. So as you exhale, feel the parts of your body that are making contact with the ground. And feel those parts start to melt and spread. Each exhale drops you into the earth. The inhale happens naturally. Just let it be, let it happen. Soften the muscles around your jaw, your mouth and face. If you're lying down, feel the back of your head on the ground. Feel the muscles of your neck start to release and relax as you allow your head to be fully supported by the ground. Feel that support. Relax into that support. Notice any sensations in your head, your face, your jaw, your neck. What are you aware of, if anything, in this area? And it may just be the feeling of pressure on the back of the head against the ground, or there may be more. So tuning in. And letting your attention come down to your shoulders and arms, feeling whatever parts of your shoulders and arms might be on the ground, maybe the hands, maybe the upper arms, shoulder blades. And as you exhale, feel yourself completely give over the weight of your arms to the earth. Let the earth hold and support you. And then feeling your torso, your spine, noticing from the upper back where the spine comes to meet the ground below the neck. And following that down your back, noticing what parts of your spine are connected to the earth, maybe which parts of your spine rise up from the earth, if any. Usually the neck, maybe the lower back, and the tailbone. And as you breathe, feel that subtle shift with each breath. There's a little expansion with the inhale and a dropping back with the exhale. So especially tuning into the exhale and feel that dropping back through your torso, through your arms and shoulders, through your head. And then feeling your legs, feeling your thighs, front, back, inner and outer thighs, bringing some softness. If any part of your thighs are on the ground, feeling that connection and softening into it. Otherwise, just simply noticing what you're aware of, what sensations are present in your thighs. And then dropping down, down into your knees, dropping into your calves and noticing if your calves are on the ground, what are you aware of? Can you drop even more? Keep moving down, down to the ankles, down to the feet. Feeling whatever parts of your feet are on the ground, melting and softening into the earth, letting go. Let all the parts of your body that are making contact with the earth melt and spread as you soften and sink down. I'll share with you a small section of a longer chant today. And this section talks about the earth, Prithvi, bringing stability to our selves, not just our bodies, but our entire beings, Sharira. And when the earth supports our being, our stability, we feel a deeper connection with ourselves, with our own hearts, and with the hearts of others. And when we feel stable and connected to the earth, connected to ourselves, connected to each other, that creates the fertile soil for a deeper connection with creation, with the universe, with God, if you like, or a deeper connection with simply what is. So whatever language works for you, the idea of being connected to the earth, this chant reminds us that that connection connects us to everything. Prithvi me sharire shrita sharir bhagum hrudaye hrudayam vahi aham amrite amritam brahmani. Prithvi me sharire shrita shariragum hrudaye hrudayam vahi aham amrite amritam brahmani. Bring your attention now back to your breath. And put just a little more emphasis on the inhalation now. The sense of expansion, energizing. Take a few slightly deeper breaths. Feel how that feels in your body. Notice what sensations come with a deeper breath. Can you feel that expansion? And again, if there's ever anything that I suggest that you tune into and feel and you don't be alarmed. Right? Our perception of self can change depending on our circumstances, the day, and what our experience in life has been. And gradually add some movement as you feel ready. And eventually, if you are lying down and you're ready to come upright, because you may not be, and that's fine. If you're ready, you can roll to your side, pause, take a moment for that transition. And then eventually making your way back to seated. Let's bring the hands together, and if it feels right for you, you might make a commitment or create an intention to use these tools in your life. So when you feel yourself getting kind of spun out, just bringing your attention to what is on the earth, focusing on your exhale, and letting that energy come back to the earth, or simply tuning into what you notice, what you're aware of in terms of sensation in your body from moment to moment. So using these tools to help to settle your nervous system in times of stress or strain, or just to help you to be more present in life. Namaste. I had a request actually to explain how it is that I get up so easily from the ground after class. So I'll take a moment to do that. So it really helps to sit on something, right? So you want to be on, I'm on a cushion here and I need a little bit of momentum, and you want to get your feet in as close as possible. For some people that's crossing or side by side, but the closer your feet in, the easier it is. So if your knees don't flex, you'll never stand up with your feet out here. So when I get my feet in, I'm gonna rock back, rock forward, and up I go. So that's there are a few little tricks, getting your feet in right under your hips and getting that little rocking motion. And sometimes end up back on your bum before you get up, but that's sort of the way of getting up in that way. There's lots of ways to get up from the ground that are probably easier, but I had a question about that particular way. So there you go.